What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com and welcome back to another one of our previews. We are going to go to Santa Anita, and I'm glad it's back. I feel like, no offense to Los Al, but it's always nice to kind of have Santa Anita and Del Mar running when you're talking about racing there in Southern California. So glad to have Santa Anita back, and it's a new kind of, let's say era at Santa Anita as they start the first year of the California Crown, a grade 1 event going 1 1/8 miles worth $1 million. Of course, a Breeders' Cup win, and you're in for the Classic. Now, you may be thinking, what is the California Crown Stakes? Well, it's basically the Awesome Again with a bigger purse and trying to get more horses to run in it. So, I don't really know how this will go. I'm not sure long-term what this will look like, but I applaud them for trying to make a big day of racing. You look at this card, it is a very good card. Multiple stakes races here, a couple of grade 1s, some grade 2s. I mean, there's something to kind of look forward to for everybody. So we'll see how it shakes out, and we'll see what happens. All right, let's get to it, though. Let's get to the preview. I know that's probably what everybody is here for. So let's get to the California Crown here. Field of 7 will line up for the inaugural running of the California Crown. I just laugh because it's the Awesome Again. But oh well. All right, let's kick down the list here, and we'll go to number 1, Newgate, to kick us off. And this horse coming back off of a long layoff. We have not seen this horse since running in the Dubai World Cup. The horse was 9th, beaten 18.5. Of course, though, the last time we saw the horse at Santa Anita, he was a winner of the Santa Anita Handicap. That's kind of what springboarded him, so to speak, into the Dubai World Cup. So off of a long layoff, Baffert has 3 in here. Would be no surprise if Baffert's other horse does win. For me, though, kind of a throwout. I think, Johnny Velasquez gets on board this one, where Hernandez and Pratt are aboard the other 2. We'll talk about in a minute for Baffert. So, and that's crazy to say, hey, Velasquez is the third option here for Baffert, but that's kind of the facts of what it is right now. So Newgate, kind of a throwout for me here. Just kind of a wait and see how he comes back. Number 2 is Subsandador. Went to Monmouth last time out and was able to get a victory by a length and a half in a grade 3 event. Of course, running here against kind of the top-notch competition that's in Southern California, at least on that circuit. 4th in the San Antonio, 2nd in the Santa Anita Handicap, 4th in the Hollywood Gold Cup. That 2nd in the Santa Anita Handicap wasn't bad. That was a race lost just, by a head by Newgate, who we just talked about, who won that race. So, this horse isn't awful. I can see the horse hitting the board here. Not really a win candidate for me, though. Number 3 is National Treasure. I don't really know what's going to happen here. I think getting back home, getting back to 1 1/8 miles, getting back to a fast track, all those things should work out in his favor. I think with this race, it's going to be very interesting to see how Baffert handles it, because National Treasure, I think, wants the lead, and Muth wants the lead. Who sits, who goes? They're the only 2 horses that really should factor in on the pace. So it's kind of going to be weird to see how it unfolds. And I think National Treasure has a little bit more natural early speed than Muth, so I think he'll be on the lead. And I think if he gets on that lead, he's going to be really tough to catch. Now, the Whitney last time out was just a disaster of epic proportions. He just didn't run, and the pace was part of it for sure. He didn't get that desired spot, but and I think bigger part of it is he just didn't fire. He didn't run whatsoever. If he can get back to his Pegasus race, even his race, the Saudi Cup race, those are probably good enough to win this one. But he does have a big challenge from his stablemate. We'll talk about him in a second. Katona is who we'll talk about next, the 4-horse. Kind of a throwout for me, not a whole lot to analyze. 2 races since coming back off of a year layoff, or a little bit over a year layoff. 2nd in the San Diego to Dr. Venkman, 7th in the Pacific Classic. I don't think either race was particularly that good, so kind of on the outside looking in for me. The number 5 is Muth, and look, I've picked this horse every single time he started, and really haven't been disappointed. 5 wins and 7 starts, 2 seconds, the 2 times he did not win. Yeah, look, I think this is a horse that's going to sit off National Treasure a little bit, and I kind of expect maybe a 2-horse race down the stretch between National Treasure and Muth, and I don't really know for a fact that that's what's going to happen, but we kind of look at what Muth has done. He's kind of sat a length, maybe length and a half off most of the time, most of his races, and then he takes over, and I kind of think that's what he's going to do here. And you look at the horses, or the races, I should say, that he lost. He lost a 6 furlong sprint, which I don't really think is his deal. And he lost the Prince of Monaco, who's pretty darn good. And then he lost to Fierceness in a race where Fierceness did what he does when he's on his best game, and nobody can beat him when he runs his best, or at least nobody in this 3-year-old division. So finish second to him. Everything else looks great. I hate when Baffert or any trainer has 2 horses that can control the speed, and it's just kind of pick your poison. Which one's going to go out in front? The one that gets in front usually wins, and so that's kind of the question mark here. But Muth, very good horse, should be very tough. Nice prep, and hopefully he actually runs. I mean, it would be nice to see him get back-to-back races in a normal spacing in. So I'm really hoping that he's here. Number 6 is Senior Buscador. Horse last time out, ran in the 7 furlong Pat O'Brien, just kind of get a start under his belt. He ran okay, kind of ran like you thought he would, closing late, getting 4th, and that's just kind of a prep for this one. This was definitely the main goal. And look, you get back to it, second by a neck in the Pegasus World Cup, won the Saudi Cup, and then was 3rd in the Dubai World Cup. So he's been great when running at a 1 1/8, 1 1/4, things like that. Look, I think the biggest problem for him in this particular race, he's a horse that needs pace, and I don't see where it's going to come from. I don't think National Treasure and Muth are going to bang heads on the front end. I just don't think that's going to happen. And if it was maybe 2 different trainers, and I thought maybe they were going to go fast, it makes Senior Buscador a little bit more attractive. But, I think the way it kind of plays out, he's going to have a tough time running down those other horses, or those horses on the front end, I should say, the 2 Bafferts with Muth and National Treasure. I think he's up against it a little bit, but this will be another nice race for him. I think he'll make his run, get 2nd, get 3rd, something like that. And I think he'll move on and go on to the Breeders' Cup Classic, 3rd off the layoff. And I think it should set up pretty well for him. And maybe the dynamics will be a little bit different there. Then finally, the number 7 is Indispensable. Indispensable's coming off of a 2nd place effort to Muth last time out in the Share Belief at Del Mar. Nothing wrong with that. The only problem is it took 9 races for this horse to break the maiden. Finally got it done just 2 races back right there at Del Mar. Like I said, faced winners and ran okay. I just don't know that this is a spot really where he's going to find a lot of success. This seems like a pretty tough jump. But he's not horrible. He's picked up a lot of checks during his career. Only 1 win in 10 starts, like I mentioned, but he has hit the board 8 times. But I just think this is a little bit too tough of a spot. All right. Yeah, look, on top, I really think you got to choose between the number 3 National Treasure and the number 5 Muth. Just the pace setup alone, it's going to be hard, I think, for anybody to make up ground. I do think a horse like Senior Buscador, even a Subsoundador, I mean, they can go get horses on the front end if they're getting a little tired or whatever. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like one of these Baffert takes the lead, one of the other ones just kind of sits off of them, and then they kind of control the race. And so that being said, I'm going to go with National Treasure in this spot. I think he's a little bit more seasoned at this point in his career. And I think he is the most likely horse to get on the lead. And I think if he gets on the lead and he's by himself, we've kind of seen that he's really hard to run down, and horses have had trouble. Just think about Cody's Wish barely ran this horse down. And I don't think Muth is as good as Cody's Wish. He held off Senior Buscador in the Pegasus, and then Buscador goes on to win at Saudi Cup. So it's like, as much as I like Muth, and I think if Muth would have been healthy the whole year, he probably would have been the 3-year-old of the year, because he's a little bit more consistent than Fierceness. I don't think his top race, obviously we saw that, is as good as Fierceness, but I think he would have racked up more wins. And if he would have lost them kind of down the road, it wouldn't have been just a total non-effort type stuff, but that's a discussion for another day. What I'm trying to say is I really think Muth I think he has a shot to win the Classic, honestly, because if he can win this one, he's really building up to where he's going to be tough in here. However, I think at 1 1/8 with National Treasure loose, I don't think Muth can come get him. I don't think he'd be quite good enough to come get him, but I don't think that means he can never beat National Treasure. I just think the circumstances here kind of lean towards National Treasure. Now, I think the one thing that Muth has going for him, He ran a much better race last time out. If you just look at their last race, Muth will beat him if it's kind of a carbon copy of that. But I have confidence that National Treasure is going to bounce back. So give me number 3, National Treasure on top to win the inaugural California Crown. All right, that'll do it for a preview of the California Crown live Saturday, September 28th from Santa Anita. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Santa Anita on Saturday.